Nic Scourton transferring to Texas A&M is the win of the transfer portal for the Aggies.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Happy Friday to you everydayers out there. And ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Nic Scourton is the biggest win of the transfer portal for the Aggies thus far. And if you look at the numbers, it is so clear why. This guy had 10 sacks, okay? So here's a little fun stat. A little fun stat about the transfer portal for the Aggies. Not a knock to any of these guys. But let's have a little experiment, okay? Nic Scourton had 10 sacks, like I said. How many sacks combined did Fadil Diggs, Walter Nolen, and Isaiah Raikes have for the Aggies last year? Was it less than or greater than 10? That's the question. So drum roll. Answer, they had 9 combined. 9 combined, and Nic Scourton had 10. Had 10 sacks last season, which was 6th best in all of college football. Okay. Looking at these numbers, I'm confident to say right now, I think there's a world where Nic Scourton leads the SEC in sacks. He's that good. One thing, hey, if it's a Friday and it's not, hey, it's Friday, so we should all be in a good mood, right? But let's say, maybe it's a stressful day at work, right? Okay. I know how to cheer you up. Go watch Nic Scourton highlight tape. Simple as that. If you go watch some of the moves he makes, what I love in a pass rusher is being able to make different moves. A lot of guys, it's like a big man down low in the post. Sometimes, they got one move. You can't have one move because then the offensive lineman on the other team are going to watch your film and go, okay, he's got one move. He's going to spin. He's going to bull rush. He's going to push-pull. No, Nic Scourton can do it all. At Purdue last year, watching the tape, I will tell you, the spin move is elite, which is obviously the most fun highlight there is. The spin move is elite. The bull rush is elite. He uses a little bit of push-pull, so it's in his arsenal. But I do still think that the spin move and the bull rush are his quick move or his, 2 main moves. But just watching the tape on this guy, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit to see him come in and lead the SEC in sacks and be an All-American player next year for Texas A&M. That's how good he is. A local kid, which is really cool to have a guy, go play in the Big Ten, come back, a talented player, come back home. That's cool to see. But, the numbers in general, like I said, 10 sacks. He had 50 total tackles. He had a forced fumble, an overall PFF grade of 83, and a pass rush grade of 90.9. That is elite. Elite, ladies and gentlemen, an elite number. Nic Scourton is going to get after the quarterback in the SEC. Texas A&M last year, right? I'm just trying to throw perspective numbers at you. Texas A&M last season had 42 sacks, okay? 42 sacks. Nic Scourton had 10. Math on that is just about, just about a fourth of it. That is how good this guy was. He can come in and just dominate offensive lineman. Okay. And then you say, well, maybe he picked on some of the not great Big Ten schools, or maybe he picked on some of the non-conference opponents. Well, He had 3 sacks combined against Ohio State and Michigan. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for than a guy that has proven, hey, I can do this against some of the best teams in college football? That's what he's done. He wasn't picking on Rutgers, and some of these other schools. He was doing this against the best of the best. And that transfers to the SEC. That does. We watched Alabama take on Michigan. Michigan was getting after Jalen Milroe all game. Being able to get after Michigan has a great offensive line, and Scourton was able to get home. Ohio State, same thing. That is what I am talking about. And watching the tape, once again, the moves were elite. Seeing the different moves he had excited me, as I already said, because, you could tell that this guy, there's not going to be a drop-off when it comes to the SEC, in my opinion, just based off the different amount of moves he has in his arsenal to use in the SEC. But on top of that, for his 6'4", 280-ish pound frame, this dude can move. A lot of times the outside linebacker, edge rusher position, we see different sizes, all over that position. You see some guys that are, the lengthy outside linebackers, 6'6", 248-pound guys, or 6'5", 252 pounds. There's different builds to this position. 6'4", 280-ish pounds is large, for edge rushers. Obviously not, there's been larger, there's been smaller. It's a position that has a wide range of sizes, but he can move. I mean, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I really like, if it's been a rough week, it's been a busy week, go watch this tape. It's going to cheer you up. I mean, seriously, watching this tape, I was in a good mood watching it, because this guy commits, and obviously number 8 player in the portal. We're excited. But then you watch the tape and you go, oh man, this kid is going to be special. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the win of the portal for the Aggies. Like I said, this guy, I don't think it's too far to say. I mean, this is a guy who can come in and be the best player on your defense. In the portal, we talk about how you fill needs. You get players to fill a position, is this guy, how good are these players, or are they just gonna help our team a little bit, add some players? No, this guy could come in and be the best player on the entire Texas A&M defense. That is how good he is. I think he's going to be one of the best pass rushers in the SEC. He's going to put up numbers next season for the Aggies, and this is just a testament to Mike Elko. This is a really good job to go and get a special football player, bring them back home. This is the stuff that makes you a better football team. Being willing to use the portal and go get some serious dudes that are going to make your football team better. That is what Nic Scourton is. He immediately, if this was Madden and you put him on your roster, we just got 6 points better. This kid is special. He's going to be a star for the Texas A&M Aggies next season and the rest of his college football career. Nic Scourton wasn't the only portal addition the Aggies had yesterday. They also brought in safety Marcus Ratcliffe. This kid can play. He's a high upside addition with a lot of eligibility left. We'll talk about him coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But I got to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use. There's so many different ways to bet, like live game same parlays. Find a bet in the new Explore tab, which I love that because it shows you different parlays that people have made. Some, like John Rothstein, the college basketball writer, I've seen some where it's his 4-leg money line parlay for the slate of college basketball, different stuff like that. It's a ton of fun to see all those different parlays and see which ones you might want to play. And a ton more over at FanDuel. It's the app I use for all of my sports wagers. It is a ton of fun. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and the Locked On Podcast Network. Mike Elko ain't done yet. Like I said, Nic Scourton comes in later in the evening, late at night. We were laying in bed, and here is Marcus Ratcliffe, the safety from San Diego State, 6'3", 210 pounds. What I love about this guy is the upside. The upside is there for him. Listen, were the stats perfect for Ratcliffe? No. And I'll tell you why. PFF grade was not great at 55.2. So those who are big believers in the PFF grade and kind of live and die by it, I'm sure you're more than welcome to look at this and go, okay, PFF grade, But you have to remember that Marcus Ratcliffe is a young player. He is a young football player that is going to come in. He is going to come in. Class of 2023, ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember that. So he was playing as a freshman, and he still put together some impressive numbers. He had 50 tackles and an interception in his true freshman season. It is not easy to come in and play college football as a freshman. That is something we talk about all the time here, as you everydayers know, at Locked On Aggies. And so the way I look at it, it's simple. Is this kid, and like I said, you everydayers know that I talk about rentals versus some guys that have plenty of eligibility left. There's room on this roster for both of those different things. There's room on the roster for rentals. There's room on the roster for players that are going to come in and have 2-3 years eligibility left. And, secondary is no question, no laughing matter, an issue for this Texas A&M football team. You got to remember, you still already brought in Ricky Wright from Vandy. You brought in Trey Jones from Central Michigan. Both those guys are safeties. And then Will the Blanket Lee from Kansas State. So you've got a corner and now 3 safeties so far to this transfer portal class. And I'll tell you, that gives me a ton of confidence heading into next season. I look at it like this. The more guys you bring in, the more transfers you bring in the secondary, the higher likelihood that one of them is a lockdown corner or a ball hawk safety, the higher likelihood of that becoming a reality. And that is why I think it's so important to bring in these guys. But no, Marcus Ratcliffe, like I said, I think the fact that he's got a lot of time to develop, I kind of like these additions. These additions, hey, he was a freshman. He had a good year. PFF grade didn't love him, but you can watch the tape and see, okay, this guy has some upside. And not all, there's a difference in portal additions. You've got your high upside. You've got your older guys that are proven. There's different levels to this. Ratcliffe is a guy. Could he play this year? Would I be surprised to see him on the field? No, I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the field. But my point is, he is a high upside player, a talented player who played his true freshman season, and he can come in and succeed right now at Texas A&M. He can come in and maybe sit for a year and be a great player next year. The possibilities are endless with Marcus Ratcliffe, and that is what excites me so much about a player like him and excites me so much about a transfer portal addition like this. Is this guy can come in and make your football team better. And it just, we don't know what his role is going to be. We don't know what any of these guys' roles are going to be. Whether, is Will Lee going to be out there every snap? Is Trey Jones? Is Ricky Wright? Is Marcus Ratcliffe? But the point is, and another thing I like to see, position of need, right? Position of need is a real thing. It's no secret. All Texas A&M fans know. We talk about it all the time. You need some tackles. I wouldn't mind a linebacker. Hey, we wanted the pass rush. You got one. And obviously, a ton of talent in the secondary. So what has Coach Elko and his staff done? Went out and got a ton of talent in the secondary. And then, offensive linemen, they're pursuing them hard. This coaching staff is making it very clear that here's a problem, here's our solution. They are not going to, dodge the transfer portal. That's one thing I'll say about the Jimbo Fisher era is I still don't believe that he used the portal to the best of his ability. And in this world of college football, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to what college football is now. And college football is changing. NIL, transfer portal, all this stuff is new. And Mike Elko has made it very clear that he is going to use the transfer portal to improve his football team on a year-to-year basis. And that is exciting because we have seen teams. I mean, look what Ole Miss is doing right now. Ole Miss has really built something special with the transfer portal. You can do that. Now, you still got to recruit out of high school. But if you can do both, recruit out of high school and hit the transfer portal hard, you can create a really good football team. That is why I think Ole Miss is going to be a really scary team this season. I think that is where Texas A&M can be a year down the road, 2 years down the road, with continued success recruiting high school and buying into the transfer portal. That is what will make this Texas A&M football program successful. And Coach Mike Elko, in his short time at Texas A&M, has made it very, very clear that this is a priority for him and his coaching staff. So Marcus Ratcliffe, great addition. We got to remember, on X, Twitter, Mike Elko has his bat signal, as they call it. And it's Manziel, and that's his bat signal. So when he posts that means that recruits are coming. Commits are coming, right? He posted that 4 times yesterday. And at this current moment, we only know about 2 commits. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, this Friday, January 5th, could be a fun day. We could see some more guys commit today. So it's definitely worth paying attention to different things there, because you are going to see some more commits soon. And with all the different talent that's been on campus visiting lately, I think you're going to see a lot more commits over the next few days, weeks, and it's going to be a ton of fun to break down. Like I said, Nic Scourton, Marcus Ratcliffe, transfer to Texas A&M, 2 players that make this football team better, and Aggie fans should look forward to seeing on the field next season. All right. As you everydayers know, I am the conductor of the Conner Weigman hype train. I was last year. I will continue to be this year. And FanDuel just put out some odds that I think kind of back me on this one. We'll talk about that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But I got to tell you about our awesome friends over at Game Time. The Game Time app is one of my favorite things to discuss. It's one of those, anytime I see anybody buying a ticket, I'm going with buddies to an NBA game, an MLB game, whatever, concert, I always say, hey, Game Time, because they offer the best prices on tickets. I've used competition before, and that's what switched me over to Game Time, was the competition wants to make tickets more expensive. And in the world right now, we just want to go to a concert or a ball game and enjoy it and be in a good mood about it. And that's why Game Time is in the business of saving folks money. And that's what means so much to me. It's why I respect their company so much. So Game Time, there's so many different features the app has. I like one, you can see the vantage point of your seat, which is, you don't want it to be a surprise where your seat is. Game Time, that's not the case. They're going to show you where you are. The app is easy to use, and that's what I love, ladies and gentlemen. They are in the business of saving you money to go to the events that bring us joy. That is why I love Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. So I want to talk a little bit about Conner Weigman and some Heisman odds, because our friends, we just talked about them, over at FanDuel Sportsbook just put out their Heisman odds. And Conner Weigman was eighth in all of college football with plus 1,800 odds for the 2024 Heisman. And I'll tell you, I think this, had the conversation the other day. How much of a competition is this going to be? It's going to be Conner Weigman, ladies and gentlemen. Jalen Henderson and Marcel Reed. Now, I know Henderson's going to be coming off the surgery, but it sounds like he's going to be good to go. He's not going to miss much. But coming off of this season and being able to really sit back and kind of look at what went down this year, quarterback play-wise, you feel great about the position group as a whole. There is no question. Marcel Reed and Jalen Henderson are two guys that can both come in and really do damage and help Texas A&M win football games. But Conner Weigman is the guy. And this is a conversation, of course, we're going to have over the next 4 or 5 months, a handful of times, because, things are going to change. There's going to be competition. I'm not denying that there's going to be a competition. What I am saying is I think Conner Weigman is a special football player. I think he's a special football player that was on the way to a historic season based on QBR and all these different metrics when he got hurt against Auburn last season. So this year, you improve this offensive line, help Conner Weigman stay healthy, be able to sit in the pocket a little bit and find some open receivers. He's going to pick defenses apart all season long. And I'm telling you, if you give him time in the pocket and you can keep him healthy, I think Conner Weigman is going to compete for a Heisman Trophy in 2024. With this schedule, all your difficult games, as we talked about, being at home, there's no way you can look at this and really disagree that, hey, he's at least in the conversation. FanDuel agrees. Like I said, plus 1,800, the 8th best odds in all of it to win the Heisman. So, hey, if that excites you, but here, add this caveat, plus 1,800 and the 8th best, highest odds to win the Heisman. Who is that ahead of? Okay, we just got done talking about Ole Miss. That's ahead of Jaxon Dart. We just got done talking a little bit about Michigan. That's ahead of J.J. McCarthy. And Mike Elko is an old quarterback, and the one that we're going to see face off with Texas A&M in Riley Leonard, who's at Notre Dame now. That is kind of my whole argument here. Those are good college quarterbacks right there. 3 great college quarterbacks. One is getting ready to compete for a national championship. Jaxon Dart's a quarterback who I think Ole Miss is going to be in the playoff next year without a doubt in my mind. Riley Leonard at Notre Dame, they're going to have a good year. And Conner Weigman has better Heisman odds. That means something to me. It does. And if you say, well, it's just odds, who cares? Throw it out the window. That's okay. That's fine. I'm not saying you have to buy into that. But what I'm saying is you have to buy into the fact that assuming this offensive line does get a little bit of a updated look with some players in the portal, which is going to happen based on some visits, upcoming visits, and different stuff there. This is going to be a season where I think Conner Weigman truly breaks out. It was going to be last year. There's no question in my mind. There was no doubt in my mind that last year Conner Weigman was going to kind of explode onto the scene. And then he goes down with injury. It happens. It hurt, it hurt this roster. It hurt to see him go down because he was going to have a special year. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And Weigman goes down. I think that this year he is going to put together some special numbers. He's still got talented receivers. He's got a great offensive coordinator. I think Colin Klein and Conner Weigman are going to just create this just like, I don't even have an analogy. Like, it's just going to be the best thing ever. They are going to create, they're going to be like See, Batman and Robin, they're going to be like, Batman and Robin's not right because one's a sidekick. They're going to be like Batman and Batman or like Iron Man and Spider-Man. That's what they are, because I think Colin Klein is going to develop into one of the best young signal play callers in all of college football. And I think Conner Weigman is going to end up being one of the surprise best quarterbacks in college football this year. So I'm really excited to see those two work together, create this special offense, get the ball to receivers, tight ends, running backs out of the backfield. It's going to be a lot of fun to see those two guys work together. It's a good day to be a Texas A&M fan, ladies and gentlemen, with the addition of Nic Scourton and Marcus Ratcliffe and some more guys coming behind them, I think, soon, today, tomorrow. There's a lot to be excited about in this football program. It's time to buy into the hype of Coach Elko. I think he's done a great job, and I really do think he's going to get this Texas A&M football program to where it needs to be. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It was another fun week here at the show. Thanks for being here to you everydayers, to you new listeners. I appreciate you a ton. Everybody have an outstanding rest of your Friday. Have an outstanding weekend, and we will see you on Monday.